Hello, and welcome to Braintrust, the podcast based on the popular networking group. We're a networking group of small business professionals who've been meeting together a little more than 6 years. And what this podcast is the summation of our conversations uh, for the week, just to digest everything that we've talked about in the morning session and then turn it into something that we can use as actionable insights for ourselves, people, members that weren't in the group, and then people moving forward. So the funny thing, I had a couple different topics in mind that we were going to talk about today. The first one was going to be networking, and then the other was going to be time management. But then what happened was two of the regular members that haven't been here since the podcast started showed up, and they were not. Um, One of the nice things about our group is that, or at least for networking, is that I feel is we became so. This is the problem with riffing, right? Because you tend to move your story around and you go from A to B. But so when you start a business, one of the first things you do is networking, right? Or it's the lowest hanging fruit rather. Like otherwise you start your business and you're sitting there in your office, in your house by yourself. You got your shingle up. Well, technically, if you don't have a storefront, no one knows you're just in your house and no one knows you don't exist. So um one of the easiest ways to understand what's going on in the local business community is to join your local chamber of commerce and then find whatever just random networking meetings are happening. Because chances are, there's probably two or three really like successful people there, and then there's, the rest are mid whatever, but they're good people for you. They're people that are motivated. They're people that can help you and do want to work with you to um, progress their business, progress their life. This is one of the things why I think, in general, I think people that are at networking events will succeed. Everyone that is at these events will succeed because the biggest hurdle are people that stay at home and are afraid versus people that actually have um, just a little bit of stomach to to be embarrassed and go to a room full of people that they don't know and hopefully make connections. And so that's where you're going to find the people that are the most motivated and where I find energy because I enjoy the energy is something that I help feed off. I don't know if it's because I'm a drummer, a musician, whatever, but so the point of today and what I was talking about, and this is not to just hear myself talk, but I think it is important for us to know that if you are a business owner and you are trying to find like-minded people, Chamber of Commerce and local groups are where you at least get your first foot in the door. It's where you see other businesses. The people that I meet there are ones that I know if I would have spent my time cold calling, I probably wouldn't have, um, it's like I wouldn't have found them. But the fact that I was able to have coffee or a snack with them, and then that built the relationship, that's what um, networking is about. And so, being that I'm one person and to not make it a huge discussion about just, my thoughts, I wanted to at least say two things about networking that I think for because what I think is detrimental to us as business owners and people is how we frame things expecting to win the World Series. Like we assume we're walking into the World Series bases loaded and we're going to hit the grand slam. Like that's sort of what you expect. Like people, like we're just conditioned to expect the best in the world. And so you're going out and you're like, oh, I'm going to go in this meeting. I'm going to meet one person. They're going to give me $1 million and, life is over. The reality is each thing, like each meeting, you should consider if you find one thing of success, that is the success. Like, so you are not going to close a deal and you're not going to, like, no one's going to give you a check on the first meeting. So what you need to assume is that you're just going to connect with somebody and just like you're not trying to get their money. The old adage is people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So people want to know, like, and trust you before they give you business. So your goal is to know, like, and trust. That is your first sale with people, is actually be friendly, be approachable, be interested. Those kind of things are what will make people interested in you and want to help. And so using that, because then you can reframe, because then that's assuming you're going to the World Series and you're only getting a single. It's like you're just getting on base. And it's like, well, but that's the World Series and I only got one hit. It's like, well, if your one hit somehow led to three other people getting on base that led to a grand slam, like that's still a contribution to the grand slam, right? And it's more often than not a hit. It's only a hit that we're going to win. Like, more often than not, it's a strikeout. So that's why if you get a hit, and I don't know why I just started baseball analogies, but if you get a hit, that's why it should be considered more, it's a win. Like, you're on base, you're not in the dugout. And so reframing this as one win, one connection is the way to go. You get three on base, and then eventually someone just walks in, like that's the way it works, because you just keep getting singles and eventually your bases are loaded. You don't need a grand slam as long as you don't get out. Like, a grand slam is a disservice to you. If you can get everybody on base and then you can then doubles and singles and just keep filling the base and getting people on, like, in theory, that's the perpetual, never ending, never stopping run machine. And so if you get a grand slam, it's like one thing and then you got to rebuild. So hopefully you understand sports in any capacity, that is some type of that you can do hits and then you fill up, boop boop, and keep going, boop boop boop, like one on base, one in, one eight, or all three gone, and you got to build, gone. So building takes time. So you need to understand where your dopamine and where your receptors are. So say someone hits a grand slam and then the next person strikes out. Are you upset? Or are you okay? Because this is where we naturally, as humans, it's like the more comfort, money, whatever we get, we kind of, we slack off a little bit. And so I want to keep it here. This is, if you notice, it was just me. It was a surprise. We had two of the guests that typically weren't at the meeting showed up, and they were not. They're like, what do you mean you're going to film me? I thought we just talked. So out of respect for them, I didn't want to force it. But now that everyone knows, it's all fair game in the last half hour of our meetings. And what I'll actually do is probably just turn the camera off and have him do something. But because there was 3 other discussions that we have, and I was like, guys, this is the pot. This is it. This is what I'm saying. And they're like, oh. So, and that's where it's even more interesting with somebody else, but that's where almost you don't get everyone's opinion, but at least you get it distilled through me. So it's like, the BS radar is. So again, this is Michael Rattay, Creative Family Memories. This is the Braintrust Networking Podcast, or I think we're calling it Braintrust Podcast, Braintrust Networking Podcast. Just trying to have actionable business advice, actionable business conversations that you can take into the world. And this is why networking is so important. So, Michael Rattay signing off. BrainTrustNetworking.com. Thank you. See you in 2 weeks.